Hi everyone, thanks for coming back. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a look at a different strobe or a different speedlight provided by Godox. So last time we looked at the TT685 from Godox, which is a nice TTL speedlight that has built-in wireless functionality, so it can work as a trigger as well as a receiver. Godox also makes another version. It's called the V860IIS for Sony, again, right? So let's take a look at this. What you will see immediately, I left the other flash on the camera, so you will see what's going on. So of course there's a manual again, like we had before. And in addition to that, we now have a battery charger. It's a dedicated charger for this particular flash. And a lithium-ion battery pack. Ta-da! So instead of using 4 AA batteries, this uses its own lithium-ion battery, and there's a huge advantage to this because this is far more powerful than the AA batteries, which gives you more flashes in a package about exactly the same size. So let's take a look at this. Take this out for a second and put this down here. So battery compartment obviously is different. So if I look at this, I'm just going to add the battery down here. It goes right in there. Or not. Hang on. There you go. So it clicks in, has this little protective thing here. It looks very similar to the other flash that we looked at, the TT685. If I put them side by side, you can see it's about the same size. The 8602 lacks a battery input, so you don't have that in the front, so that's the difference. Pretty much otherwise is exactly the same look. Also has control ports on the side. Let me just show you that. So it also has a data port as well as a USB port. Does not have an external trigger port, so that's also the difference here. Happens to be that this has basically the exact same technical data than when compared to this. So they're technically having the same output, same wireless functionality, same high-speed sync capabilities, same trigger capabilities, same everything. What I like about this unit is that it comes with its own battery, which is much more powerful than any AA on the competing model, the TT865. So the 8602 is exactly the same unit. There's no difference in terms of technical specifications. They both have wireless, they both have TTL, they both have high-speed sync, they both have the same guide numbers. But because this uses its own proprietary battery, it is much more powerful in terms of the number of shots you're going to get per charge and the recharging time, because the current that this system provides to the strobe is much higher than the AA batteries going to be able to provide to the regular model. However, one thing needs to be considered, and that is, if you're thinking you're using this exclusively as a flash, as a strobe, and you run out of juice, you better have a spare battery, because there's no external port to add additional power, and because those batteries are proprietary, you cannot just walk into a store and say, hey, you know what, let me get a pack of 4 AAs and just replace them. That's not going to work, right? So what you have to do is you have to keep the charger handy, which is this little guy here, which enables you to charge on an AC outlet as well as on a DC outlet, meaning in your car. So when you travel, you can charge this in the car. But let's say you're in an event or family trip, vacation, you run out of juice, you're out of luck, because you can't charge these things without their own charger, and it takes some time to charge the battery. The beauty is that you can use one as a master and one as a slave. So I'm going to showcase this. So basically, in order to do this, you go into the menu on the flash, and there's an option where you can set the slave as a slave and the master as a master. And once you've done that, you can use this, for example, to trigger this, or this to trigger this, or use the external wireless transmitters that Godox also sells. So for example, I'm just going to use this to shoot this, and you will see that this guy, I'm going to put my finger here, fires as well. So there's no connection between the two flashes, and it's completely wireless, so I can shoot this in a different direction. And you saw that this one just flashed, right? So this is completely TTL controlled, and you can have multiple flashes contributing to your exposures. Just to show you that this is not an optical trigger, that this is a wireless trigger, I'm just going to point my camera underneath this bench here, where it likely would not be able to trigger this if this was optical, and you will still see it still flashes, right? So you can also do this manually, so you can go ahead and you can control the power manually on these flashes. You can do exposure compensation, so let's say you want to do a ratio and you want to have your backlight a third of the stop, 2 stops lower than the front light. Let's say this is going to be my backlight or my kicker. I can put this on the side and I can just dial in the compensation here and say group A gets a flash exposure compensation of minus 2/3 of a stop, and then automatically when I use the trigger, the camera will measure through the lens the exposure based on what the main flash is seeing, and then tell the rear flash to expose for 2/3 of a stop less. So all in all, I think it really comes down to whether you want the flexibility of being able to use any kind of AA battery that they make or that you can find anywhere, or whether you want to have more power and faster recycle time. Each one of them has the advantages, but the core difference between the two units is really the built-in battery that Godox provides, and not the other functionality, menu, power output, etc. It's all the same. All right, thanks for watching.